Hello and welcome to Meet Your Inspiration podcast with Meri and Rich. Here we're talking about inspiration, motivation and empowerment. Our guests are ordinary people who became extraordinary, and we're sharing their stories. We want to empower you to become the person you want to be, to go beyond your dreams.
Today's special guest is Tobias Donahoe. Tobias, who is the CEO and owner of TPD
Creative.
You still almost got it wrong.
Nearly got it wrong.
Going to get it wrong. You read it, and still.
Because he was focused on the surname. I'm pretty sure. But now it's fun. So welcome, Tobias. And
Tobias
Donahoe.
There we go.
It's finally.
There's the best introduction yet.
We had, yes, absolutely it is. Thank you, finally, having the time to be here. We always start how we met you, and most probably here it's Richard who met you first, or it's again Kenton Victor?
I actually remember exactly.
Really?
I remember exactly.
Most probably no.
Betainer.
Yes. Yeah. On the what's on in Kent.
Yeah, that's
What was
right.
that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That was the first one with all the amazing cars outside.
Cars were there, and I think there was archery going on.
Yeah, there was.
At the time, I didn't actually do the archery,
No.
but I met you towards the end of that, and then seen you
That's
in a lot of different networking spaces since.
Absolutely.
Was that the beginning for you to network, or not really?
That was really near the club, really near the start. I started. I got invited to a BNI, and I'd never done any networking at all. I didn't even know it existed. It's like a subculture of society. Isn't it?
Yeah.
You meet all these people and you start seeing them everywhere else.
Exactly.
Then you think, what do they do?
Yeah. Actually working, or... No, so I went to a BNI. Didn't really get on with that. But it was like trial by fire. 60 people in a room. Stand up, explain yourself in 60 seconds. I was like, what is this? And then I went to a chamber, East Kent chamber. Enjoyed that. And then I think I was just dabbling and trying different things, and I went to the What's On one, and met myself there first of all. Yeah.
Perfect. So now we're gonna get through your story to the point why did you get there and what you were doing, but we'll take you back in the time, and we want to ask you, when you were finishing your secondary school, what were you taught and what did you want to do?
So like you said that it would start off with school, and it's made me think more and more about my school, and to be honest, you speak to a lot of business owners and stuff like that, and you kind of you hear quite often, school didn't agree with me, or the education system didn't agree with me. I was an outcast, I was naughty in school and stuff like that, and I think that outweighs the amount of people that say I've done really good in school. Do you know what I mean? I think there needs to be some kind of balance. I didn't do great in school. I was average student, probably. I really enjoyed school. I enjoyed the social aspect. I made some really good friends. I wasn't too naughty. I wasn't a geek, I hope.
So you were the.
But I was just I
average.
was pretty average. Had some good friends. The biggest benefit from school for me would have been the social aspect for sure. And I think that gets missed a little bit because people would focus so much on, school didn't agree with me because...
Or the academic part of it, rather than...
because I didn't get A stars.
Yeah.
But even those people, you speak to those people and they'll be really funny people or really good socially. And that came from school because they weren't good academically. So to get by in school, to get attention, they learned to be able to talk to people, which is great.
Yeah,
and then
communication is the key, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's probably why they end up on podcasts and interviews and things like that and say, school wasn't great for me. But it's I think you need to look at the benefits of things no matter what. So anyway,
but it means you're in the non-boring class, which is good.
Yeah. But I don't know if too many because we're getting involved as a company now in education a little bit more, and you hear people parents and adults say about the kids just want to be TikTok stars and stuff like that, and it's well, every interview they see, every successful person they see is chiming on about, I didn't do well in school. So they're probably thinking, I don't want to do well in school because then I won't be that multi-millionaire. But there is people that
That they did, yeah, of course. And actually, if I must be honest, here on the podcast, we had absolutely mixture of people.
Oh, good.
Some did well, some not.
Yeah.
Some enjoyed, some
Yeah.
didn't. Some decide to go back to education in their 40s.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very much, yeah. But
Yeah.
I think that's the good variety that, and this is the point here that we want to show that there is a journey for everyone,
Yes,
and everyone
yeah.
find their
Yeah.
way
So
and
I
the path.
in secondary school, I was like bang average. I left secondary school. I was basically told, do you know when you go on to A levels? I was basically told by the teachers that A levels wouldn't agree with me, basically, and I was like, oh, okay. But then I went and I done a BTEC. I didn't really know what I'd want to do. I knew I liked using my hands. I liked creating things. So I studied operations maintenance engineering was the actual course.
Okay.
So it was like lathes and pneumatics and things like that. A lot of maths. So I done that for BTEC. Enjoyed that. I quite enjoyed getting out of school, and because when you go to do BTEC, you got a mixture of ages as well. So like all of a sudden you're around people that might be 5 years older than you,
Okay.
who was doing the BTEC to get a job, or people who have jobs and their funding.
Is that something like qualification then?
Yeah,
the
BTEC,
BTEC?
Yeah, so it's pretty similar to like an A level.
Okay.
Well, they tell you that. But A level's probably the more
The
academic.
BTEC, and then you get an ONC at the end of that. Was that ONC?
So I don't know. I didn't get that far with the BTEC process because after that, I done that and I got introduced to CAD, computer aided design.
Oh.
And then I went on to do a foundation degree in CAD and 3D animation.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. It was a weird old path. So yeah, but I did enjoy it, and I enjoyed like the hand things and stuff like that. But I also like the digital world and creating things in the 3D space. So I've done that for 2 years with the idea of doing the foundation degree for 2 years and then getting my full degree. So you just do one more year at Greenwich University. But in the second year, the start of the second year, they announced to us that they're cancelling the third year. So it was like, you can't get your full degree.
That's really frustrating.
I know. So they told us that, and some people in the class were like, "Oh, that's it. It's fine. I'll just have a foundation degree and then I'll go get a job." But like, I really wanted this like full degree, and I like found something that I was actually like didn't do great. Like I'd done average in school, done okay-ish in the BTEC, but then I was kind of finding what I was actually good at with the foundation degree in CAD and 3D animation. So I really wanted to just complete that circle basically and finish it and get the full degree. So then I tried to get into other universities and enter in the final year, but no university really done that course. And it was like a blessing in disguise because if I had done that, I probably would have just been stuck in the CAD world and got a job in that area. So they was all telling me that you have to do 2 more years, and I'd already done 2 years, and I was like, so I thought if I'm doing 2 years, I might as well do 3 years and study something different and get some more knowledge. So that's when I found industrial design at Bournemouth University. I actually went to that thinking, I went to like the open day thinking it was like structures, because it's called industrial design. I thought it was like big structures, and I thought it was like the engineering side of that. But then when I went there, it was very much not that. It was design in industry. So it was how different industries use design. So it was branding. It was psychology of marketing.
That sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, so it was much more, and it was much more arty. It was and like talking about school, art was the only thing I got. I got an A star in art. I got a D in German, and everything else was kind of B, C's. It was much more arty. This degree, this course. So I thought this sounds really fun. This sounds like I unintentionally found a course that I'm really gonna like vibe with here. Like I'm really gonna. This really aligns with who I am and what I want to do. So I started that from scratch. So I went in the first year and done really well in university. So by the time I got to university, I feel like I found what I was good at, what I enjoyed, what I didn't mind spending hours and hours doing, and yeah, so done 2 years there. Then that turned actually into a 4-year course, because then I done a placement year where I went and worked in an office for a year, and then went back, done the final year. So yeah, it was 4 years in total. But
How
then,
did you find that sort of going into that? Do you think that was a really useful aspect of the course to actually being able to do
yes,
to go and actually do the work
and
experience?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm a keen advocate of like real life experience. Like now in the company, we're taking on T-level students, so they're doing like a day a week in the office for a year. I'm also getting more involved in the local college, so I'm going to be assisting them with like with outside knowledge for them, like on their curriculum and stuff like that for content creation.
Perfect.
Yeah, so yeah, I think you do need that balance. That's what I love the C levels, because I think it's got that balance of. I think it's 80% in the classroom, which you need the classroom, you need to learn these skills, but then 20% in the workplace.
Put them in use.
Yeah, you need to do like, I think it's like 300 and something hours over the 2 years of the course to do it. But anyway, yeah, so then I was in Bournemouth, loved Bournemouth, loved the university, loved the course. Like, if at that point someone had said to me, for the rest of your life, you can earn good money, you're just going to carry on with this course for the rest of your life, I would have said, yeah. I would have, like, I loved it. I loved the different projects. I loved everything. Every project had a different aspect to it. We was learning a bit of psychology. We was learning a lot about marketing and digital design, learning everything that basically became my company now. But yeah, on this project basis, and yeah, like I've done really well. So I got first in that, and I was the highest of the class in the university by the time we finished. But then, but I didn't actually get my degree, because I was top of the class. But there was this where I'd done that foundation degree for 2 years, and then I went to university for 4 years, because I'd done that sandwich course. That became 4 years. It was 6 years in total, and obviously I was using like student finance and stuff like that. That capped out at 5 years. So at the start of it's a bit like the foundation degree. At the start of my final year of uni, I got a letter from student finance saying, we're no longer funding this. You've reached your cap of 5 years. And then I returned to them and said, well, at the start of this course, you said I could do it, because I did check it with them. And then the thing was, I'd done this year in workplace, which you got like a small amount of funding for that as well. So I was like, can you just take that out, because then I'll owe you less money? And they wouldn't do that. And so then, at the start of the final year, I got told, we're not funding it. And then the university was sending me emails saying, we haven't received payment for your year. And I just had to kind of tell them it was an ongoing dispute or whatever. And I thought, I'm here now. Like, I'm living in a flat there. I was like, I can't just not do this year. So I just carried on, I just marched on. Like, I was working at the time as well in Tesco's. And so I had a little bit of money coming in for that. I think they stopped my funding, so they stopped my grants. But I was like, let me get my degree. But I couldn't get it in the foundation degree. Wow. So then it carried on going on and on and on. So I finished the course, and I got awarded, the best in the year, basically. I got awarded a first.
But you didn't get the...
But then the university was at the same time writing to me saying, you can't have your degree because you haven't paid for the final year. So then I was trying to write, and this is in the mix of like doing your final year, like you're doing your dissertation, like it's a real academic kind of year. So in the mix of it, I was fighting this battle on the side, trying to get student finance. I was saying, I will pay you back. Just add this year to my debt, which I'm still paying to this day. And I was like, but they wouldn't do it. So then after finishing, I came to an agreement with Bournemouth University. They said, you need to pay this year back. And I was like, I can't afford it. I'm literally just graduated. I don't have a job, and you're asking for £6,000. And they said, well, what can you afford? And I said, I've got a part-time job at Tesco's. Like, I've got rent to pay. I've got bills. I've got to live. I was like, I can't afford to pay you anything. Like, but and then they said, I think they said at the time, they was like, pay back £100 a month. And I was like, I can't afford that. I can't afford £100 a month. And I was like, okay. And I remember this woman, she was going to and fro to her superior, and she'd leave the room, she'd come back, and she was like, we've agreed £75 a month. I was like, I can't afford it. I said, by charging me £75 a month, you're going to be putting me in debt and more debt. So then she'd leave again. She came back, £50 a month. And like, we're talking about £6,000, so it's going to take a while. She was like, 50 grand a month. Sorry, 50 grand, like £50 a month. And then I managed to get her down to £10 a month.
Gosh.
I said, I'll pay you £10 a month. so then that'll be £500 a year, £520 a year. So then it would take 12 years for me to pay off that final year. But in the meantime, I knew I was having this battle with student finance, and then student finance. And then it got to graduation, and you're all in your robes and stuff like that. There was me, apparently the best student in the year. Everyone marches up, everyone goes across, and they go, now Tobias Donahoe, and they handed me an envelope. I was like, oh, here we go. I've actually got my degree. That's nice. Sit back down, open it. Basically an invoice.
No.
It basically said to me, you have an outstanding balance with Bournemouth University of this amount. Until you pay it, we won't give you a degree. So then I went on with student finance, and in the end, student finance paid it, and they sent me my degree about 8 months after graduation.
Wow, what a game!
You're a story.
And it goes to show, doesn't it? And
yeah, but everybody are following their rules.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, because everyone fits in boxes.
Yes.
And because this course had got cancelled in its final year, this CAD and 3D animation, and I'd started again. I'd gone 1 year over.
But they don't think all these things. No. They don't take them in consideration. No. They just follow what is in their ticking boxes.
Yeah, and even even uni, it was asking me to pay it back, and I was like, I can't. Like this is.
But it's one of the hardest things in the world, I think, is when you look back and you think. So you do the qualifications, and then you're basically in a situation where you have to pay it back for the rest of your life.
Yeah. So mine, I was on plan 1 with student finance. So I was actually looking at it the other day because the accountant asked. So it's 25 years, or when I become 65, that it gets written off. So 25 years from when you start paying it back, I think. So I've got 14 years left. And if I can survive that, it'll get wiped off. But now it's 40 years. So now it's just gone up and up and up. So basically, I just see it as an education tax. You've just got a tax now because I haven't paid anything off yet. It's all interest. And that's the other thing they tell you at the start when you're going into uni. They say, go to uni, get student finance, 0% interest. I remember getting told 0% interest. It's now 6% interest on it. And you think, but it's just, I'm just never going to, so many people are just never going to pay it off.
No.
And because it's far too much.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It's really far too much. And that's why, I don't know, I've had the feeling that I've been through that path. School, university, whatever. That's the path. I didn't know anything else. Nowadays, I don't think it is. And obviously, university, I believe, is for people who really want and will enjoy and will learn, because you not put your efforts only in time, but it's as well this money tight, and you have to think about that as well, because it is reality. But yeah, that's why everybody find their way to do it.
I think it's so. I don't know if there's other ways to get the other benefits. Like I said, like people that say didn't do well in school academically, and they say it wasn't for them. There was benefits, and with university it's the same. There's so many benefits to at that age.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
Moving away and finding independence and having, even though it is student finance and it is a debt that you're going to take on, but you are getting a monthly money, like you're getting, I think it's quarterly, I think it's term. Each term you get money in, and you've got to manage that.
You have to,
Do you know what I mean? It is. There is that aspect to it, I think, which is is fantastic. Because you become your own person a little bit more. You
didn't like that part of UK to stay there?
What's that?
Did you?
I loved it. But I always knew I was going to come back to. So I grew up in Margate. I grew up in
So again, near to the seaside.
Yeah,
so
I've never been able to escape it. I do think there's like something in that, like seeing the sea constantly and just seeing that vast escape.
But there is something. I don't know. We are both big fans of.
I think there's definitely something in that which helps your development as a human.
Does it help you with creativity as well?
Yeah. I think like whenever I can step away from the desk and like walk the dog and take him to the fields, and like when I take him to the fields, you can literally see field, sea, a nice little castle there as well. It's a lovely view, and it does kind of detach you a little bit from. And then that's when you have the idea. That's when I'm usually sending voice notes to the team. I'm like, I've got this idea. What can we do with X, Y, Z? And
some inspiration.
Yeah.
That's cool. How the work paths, obviously, after you finish university?
So I finished university. I knew, so at that point, my now wife had moved to Bournemouth University. She transferred her. She was doing a course back home in Thanet, but then in the second year she transferred it to Bournemouth. So we was living together, which was nice. But we both knew that we wanted to come back to Thanet because like we was in like now a serious relationship, and we kind of knew that we wanted to like start a family. I'm very family. Like I've got a great family. Like I love seeing my dad, my brothers, and we kind of knew that if we were to have a child and raise it, we want the child to be around that family, around their granddad, their uncles, and that. So we knew we wanted to come back. Like there was the option of going to London and like pursuing the career and getting very career focused, but it didn't really appeal to us. So we knew. So that's why we left Bournemouth. We didn't stay in Bournemouth. We wanted to come back and be around everyone again and start up there. So I came back, and then I remember being back at my mum and dad's house in the loft on a computer, trying to find a job. And like I've done this great course, and like I said, I loved the course. I loved everything about it. And I was just trying to find something which was like following on from that. So what that was like an agency, but locally down there, it's not really. You've got to be in London for that kind of creative agency. And like you had like web designers and graphic designers and things like that. You had a lot of them, but they were all kind of like one-man bands. So no one was really hiring. So I had this great education. I had all these skills. I couldn't really find a job that aligned with it and fed that. But what I did find was a job in roof construction. Roof design. So I started designing roofs. So like the trusses that go on. So I started, and that like it did itch that kind of design area, and it was all 3D, and you'd measure things, and it was good. Like I really liked that job.
So was that for a housing company or building?
No, so it was a company called Harmony Timber Solutions. So they do like timber frame buildings and stuff like that. So it wasn't specifically for the house builders, but house builders would go to them as the supplier. But you'd get sent a drawing of the building and the roof, and you'd basically have to mimic that, redesign that, and then design trusses which were structurally stable. So it'd get like the system would test their loads and stuff like that. And if it was green, it was okay. I used to always say, if it's green, it's not obscene. Because everyone was like stuck, like there was a bit stuck in their ways, and like there was like a truss looks like that, and it's called a think truss. When it has like a W in the middle, and like if it's this size, it has to have that W. And then I was obviously like a little bit more creative. So I'd try and I'd try to make them as cheap as possible, but still structurally sound. So like I'd have something like that, and I'd put like a block there and a block there, and and it'll bring the costs down massively. And they went, no, it's not a think truss. I was like, it's green. It's not obscene. It's fine. Like it's structurally sound. But yeah. No,
to be fair, when you think about that as well, if someone's going up in the attic, I mean, like as well, it means
more space.
More space.
Yeah, exactly.
Most attics you go in, like because of those trusses, you sort of like you've got to like work around.
I used to love a loft truss, so you can get trusses which go in and it makes the loft room, and you'd get sent these designs, and so many of the other designers would look at it and be like, "Oh, it's cut and pitch." So basically, that means that someone needs to be on the site and cut the timber, put like some steels in, And I'd look at it, I'd look at the space, and I'd be like, I think I can get a truss to work here. So I'd try everything I could to get the trusses to work, and like it would be like a little challenge. But yeah, it definitely scratched that itch of design. I made it more creative than it probably should have been, and then I started working on their social media and their website a little bit. So that started. Yeah, it was good. I did really enjoy it. So I'd done that for about a year and a half. Then me and my wife went travelling, so we saved up money. When we left leaving uni, we knew we wanted to like do a stint of travelling. And I'm like in uni, we had this map on our wall, and I had like this string. And at the time, at that time, I thought we could do like the world basically.
Okay.
But then when we looked into it more and more, it was like Southeast Asia was more affordable, so it would last longer. Like once you start bringing in the Americas, it's like the cost goes through the roof. But yeah, you could do Southeast Asia relatively cheap. So for a year and a half, we moved that planet, built up some funds, earned some money, and
Escape to luxury at Hempstead House Hotel and Spa, an elegant country house hotel in Bapchild, near Sittingbourne, Kent. Relax with indulgent spa treatments. Dine in style with exquisite cuisine. Perfect for getaways, weddings and events. Experience luxury in the heart of Kent. Book your stay today.
Be the first to discover Kent's best events all in one free app. What's On in Kent is a new and rapidly growing app where you can find days out information, places to eat, festivals, concerts, markets, and much more around you. Just with few clicks on your phone or computer, you can stay updated with real-time info and explore events across Kent. Don't even think twice. Just download. It's free.
So where did those adventures take you?
John, I forgot the year we left, actually, off the top of my head, but I remember we left on January the 1st, because it was like New Year, this is it, let's go. And also, the other thing was I got a bonus from that other job, and you had to survive the year to get it. Yeah. So, because you got it at the end of the year, so I was like, I've got to survive the year to get that bonus at the end to fund it. So we went, we put something out online and said like we're going to go travelling, and this guy we had met on holiday previously, we'd only met this guy once on holiday, but on like Facebook and stuff like that, we'd stayed in touch a little bit. He lived in Goa, and when we put something out, he had said come visit me, and we was like, yeah, all right,
why not?
It's good as offer already. Yeah. So we went straight to Goa, got off the plane. And we were we thought we were so prepared. Like we had our rucksacks on, we like loaded up with everything. We got out of the airport at like it was 12 at midnight.
And was that the first time you'd been to Asia at all, and India?
Yeah. All we've done before is like Turkey and places in Europe, Spain. So we walk out this airport and we get our phones out, and our phones aren't working. We didn't think this through. Like we don't have any signal, and we was like, let's get on their Wi-Fi. But we're in like this little airport in Goa, and they've got no Wi-Fi. And I'm like, oh my god! And then just like
you're starting the surviving mode,
just running around. Everyone seems like they know what they're doing, and we're just standing there with our backpacks. Like it's midnight. The last response we had from this guy was before we got on the plane, but obviously it's like a long flight, and he was saying, "I'll meet you at the airport at midnight." But then now you start doubting yourself, don't you? And we're standing there, and we're like, oh my God, like we are just in Goa and we can't see this guy, Mike's his name, we can't see Mike. And then like, I was like, I don't even know if I know what Mike looks like. like I met this guy on
hopefully Mike knows.
Guy. I'd obviously seen him on Facebook loads, but I'm like, I don't know if I could spot Mike in a crowd now. Like, oh my God. And then everything went out the window. Like, we left and we was like, right, we never leave each other's side. Like, these are the rules. Like, these like little rules. Like, we never leave each other's side. We won't walk around with our phones in our hand. We won't do this. We won't do that. Straight away, I'm like, Kaya, my wife, I was like, Kaya, stay here. I'm going. She's like, what? Where are you going? I'm going to have to start walking. Like, I'm going to have to find Mike. I'm going to have to look for a white bald guy. Like, because I don't remember what he looks like, but if I find a white bald guy, I'm going to say, Mike.
He should stand out there.
Yeah. And then there was this moment of panic, and then literally like something out of a film, out of like because it's quite dusty in Goa as well because they do loads of drilling for like bricks and stuff like that. So there's loads of red dust everywhere, and then out of the dust, out of the shadows comes this white bald guy, and I'm like, I think that's Mike.
We are saved.
Yeah, and he said, "You're right, Tobias, you're right, Kaya." And I was like, "Oh, Mike." There was a moment there that I thought we was getting back on a plane going home. And then he took us back to his house, a lovely house. He'd had a room set for us, and he got us in. And he's like I said, he picked us up at midnight. We were knackered, and he was like, "You want to go to the pub?" I was like, "What?" And he was like, and then we was like, "We can't insult our guests, like our host." And he was like, "Yeah, all right." So then next thing you know, we're in a pub in this shack. Cows just walking past, and I'm like, "What's going on with that?" And he said, "Yeah, just let them roam." And I'm like, "What?" And there's cows coming up. We're having a beer, and So that's where we started Goa. We ended up staying 2 weeks there because it was just lovely. He had there was like an English kind of community of it was like retirees basically that moved out there. So we made good friends with a lot of them. Stayed there for a couple of weeks, then went to Thailand, North Thailand first.
In the jungle area?
Yeah, like Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai and Pai. That was my favourite part of Thailand. So we done like a sleeper train to get up there as well, which was really cool.
Awesome.
But Bangkok itself, didn't mind it, but it's busy and it's just...
Yeah, any Asian city is like bustling and that. They're just crazy.
Oh, have you ever been to... When we left Goa, we went to Bangalore.
No, I haven't been there.
Oh, that was like... I thought Goa was a culture shock. That was insane. We get there, no one speaks a word of English. We know a hotel we need to get to. We can't. At this point, it's our first time we were alone traveling as well. Didn't trust anyone. Didn't even get in a taxi. I'm looking at the map, and I said to my wife, I was like, "It's 45-minute walk. I think our safest option is just to walk it." So in the blistering heat, we walked 45 minutes, get to the hotel, get to the room. We got this picture on Booking.com. Which looks like a lovely room, and it lists shower, and then we get in the room. It's terrible bed, a bucket in the toilet, of course not a toilet, and then I go down, and then people just laying in the hallway. I'm like, what is going on? Like my wife actually cried at that point. She was like, "What are we doing? Let's just go home." And I was like, "No, we just got to get used to this." And no one sold cold water as well. So then we started walking and. We was like, "I just need to find water. We get our heads straight. We work this out." Everyone's got stalls selling water, and it's boiling hot. And I said, "Give me some cold water, goddamn." But yeah, it all works out. It's all character building. But yeah, any Asian city is just mental. But yeah, we went Thailand, Bangkok, up Chiang Mai, Pai, and then we went across to Cambodia.
Yep.
Up to Vietnam, then across again to Laos. Then we done South Thailand, then down to Indonesia, Singapore, Indonesia.
Yeah, did you go through Malaysia as well? Or over the top?
I think we went over the top of Malaysia. But done Singapore, loved Singapore. That's very clean.
Compared to everywhere else in Asia, it's wow.
It's pristine, isn't it?
Yeah,
like chewing gum's illegal, isn't it?
Yeah, and everything's almost polished.
Yeah, every car that goes past is just lovely and clean. Yeah. I think it's just... I read that the cars and that, it's just like, there's a level of respect for just having things. And like where everything's clean, everyone keeps everything clean. And like the roads look like they were laid yesterday. And the paint on the roads is just, everything's pristine.
How long was this travel journey?
6 months.
Okay.
6 months, yeah. So we Singapore, Bali. I actually proposed in Bali as well to my wife.
How was in Bali? Is it the same what you see on the socials?
Yeah, I love Bali.
Is it good? I heard that it's very much, the air is, was it humid?
Yeah.
How you get used to that?
I think we was out for 6 months.
Yeah,
so
I've been in Thailand and
I think the first, like when we was first in Goa, like for the first week, 2 weeks, like we were thinking this is really hot. You just can't get used to it. Get used to sweating a little bit and whatever you do. And then Philippines and we did pop over to Australia just quickly. Because we was in Bali and it was a 50 quid air.
Oh gosh, that's amazing.
That close and then
we went to Darwin. Darwin was terrible. Darwin, I don't know if Darwin is just, it's a ghost town. But then so we was like, let's go to Australia just to say we've done it. Went to Darwin, there was nothing.
Because that's right at the top.
There's nothing there. Like they built all these structures. It's like the world's just ended and there's no people left. So you've got all this structure, this infrastructure, these big buildings and stuff, wide roads and everything. There's just no one there. There's just no one there. So we end up getting a flight to Sydney just to see a bit more Australia. But yeah, so we've done that for 6 months.
That's a cool thing to do.
Yeah, that was really good. I think changes you a little bit as well. Like,
in what term change you? When you see different culture, when you being out of obviously what is your bubble.
It's back to what like I was saying about university and just like your independence and like you really do just have a backpack on you and like you realise that like you don't need too much. Like all we had was backpacks and clothes and you'd get them washed and that's all you needed. And seeing the other cultures 100%. Like we was on buses for like 8 hours sometimes. And you'd see all the locals get like I spent 8 hours next to a chicken at one point.
Honestly, that's a bit like life, a race across the world.
Well,
it was
a bit like that because we had this rule. It was like after Goa, we was like we don't really want to be spending like we definitely never want to hit 5 days. So we want to be spending like 3 days in places. So we were literally just dotting around, going everywhere. But yeah, it just gives you a little bit of an outward perspective on life, and like there's so many different people out there, and
I think the thing is, it makes you appreciate actually what you have here, because when you see the world in a completely different way and how people live, I mean, it's so far apart, particularly in some parts of the world, like in India. Like it's parts of Thailand, not all of Thailand, but parts of Thailand.
Yeah, where people are living like we got picked up from in Chiang Mai. We stayed with like a B&B kind of thing, and they said, "Oh, we'll pick you up as well from the airport." Did we get the airport? No, we got the train there. We're going to pick you up from the train station. So I was like, "Oh, great, cool." Told them when we'd get in. So then we get out, and there's a guy there. He puts us in the back of his tuk-tuk, drives us to his B&B, and I was like, "Oh, this looks like it all right." It was. And then we went past loads of shacks and stuff like that. And there was this shack outside the B&B, and it was literally just like plywood, like it just built a shack. And he gets out, gets all our bags out, and then he just walks into this shack and lays down. He's got his kid in there as well. And you're like, oh, that's that guy's life. Like he just lives in this shack outside his B&B, and they ask him to go pick people up from the train station, and that's actually like it was literally just plywood, just nailed together. That was his house, and you're like, my God. And you see loads of it. You see so much poverty and just totally different ways of life. But what I always think about is the happiness. Like some of these people were just some of the happiest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah, they just.
This is what I hear from anyone being in that part of the world.
Yeah, like when we was in, I think it's Chiang Rai. There, we was really in the mountains. We was in these bamboo huts. And we were having a drink with the hosts, and we could hear music playing, just like drums and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, that's the local tribe. And we was like, oh, okay, what is it? And it was like, it's their New Year or something, some kind of celebration. And it was like, can we go? And I was like, will they be offended if we go? They were like, they will love it if you go. So we'd get our torches and we're going down the mountain, and they had a bonfire in the middle. They were offering me drinks and stuff like that. I was like, no, I just want to see. They had their beers, bottles of beer. They had this bonfire in the middle. They're cooking meat. It was a pie. They were running around the middle of the fire, all dancing around it and stuff like that. I've ended up dancing with them. It was real they were so happy, these people. And they had nothing.
Well, they do say that Thailand is the land of smiles, and everyone just seems. It's almost as if you start to think, well, are they really they're just doing it because they think you're a tourist. And they're trying to but they're not. It's just the way they are. Isn't it? Just
I took my son back there, so then we went back the year before last, with my son. It was a very different experience. So obviously now we've got a child and we're going back to Thailand, but he loved it. And I'm going to try and, as much as possible, take him different places and let him see these different cultures.
Oh yeah, it's very good for everyone in their journey to learn and to see.
Still to this day, he goes, Sawadee-ka. But what does he say? Sawadee cattle or something like that. It was the
Okay.
last bit.
Wrong.
Yeah, it cracks us up every time.
How old is?
So it's 4.
Okay,
Round,
yeah.
So yeah, done travelling, came back. Again, same problem with the job. Didn't really know. I wanted to stay in Thanet. Couldn't really find a job. Went back to Harmony again, like it was good. There was nothing wrong with it, and I really liked the guys I worked with and stuff like that. I was there for about a year, and then I went on a bike ride. No, it must have been a year. No, it was more like about 6 months. I went on a bike ride, and loads of my stuff was still in boxes because we'd boxed up our whole life. And it was the first time I was going on a bike, and I was like, "Where's my helmet?" I couldn't find the helmet. I was like, "It's one bike ride." Ended up coming off my bike, brain hemorrhage, brain contusion, fractured skull. Yeah, really, really bad accident.
Once without helmet and
yeah. Before that, before I went travelling, I was like, I'd always wear a helmet. Like, so I used to cycle to work, and the first time I cycled to work, I didn't have a helmet, and then I had like a smartwatch or something, and it clocked that I was going like 30 miles an hour, and I was like, I need a helmet. So then I'd always wear a helmet. I couldn't find it that one time. Came off my bike. Don't remember the whole day. Don't remember anything about it.
Someone found you, or
luckily, because I was down like a country road, and luckily a cyclist came down shortly after me and just found me in the middle of the road, like totally unconscious, covered in blood. And he set up his bike, like he ran, set up his bike that end, ran, put my bike somewhere else, and no traffic came. Called the ambulance. A paramedic was nearby, so he picked me up. But yeah, I don't remember anything. This is just what I've been told. Apparently, I got quite aggressive as well, which is just it's crazy. So I'm a very placid kind of guy, but it just shows how much like a head injury can mess you up. So yeah, I had like swelling in the brain and stuff like that. So that's why I didn't remember anything. And yeah, so I was in hospital, scanned me, and then I was in hospital for like probably like about a week after that. They didn't want to let me go because I couldn't remember things. So they'd come round and they'd say, "Do you know your name?" "Yes, Tobias." "Do you know where?" And I remember the first time the doctors came around and he said, "Do you know where you are?" And I looked around and I was like, "Hospital?" And he was like, do you know what hospital?" And I was like, and then you kind of I was assuming because I couldn't remember what had happened at all. I just opened my eyes and I'm in a hospital. And I was like, "Margate Hospital?" And he was like, "Yeah, correct. Do you remember the ward?" And I was like, "No." And then he'd say, "I told you the ward recently." And I couldn't remember talking to this guy. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he said, "But don't worry, but I'll come around in a little bit." So then I'd lay there, go back to sleep, wake up, and he'd say the same question, "Tobias, yeah, Margate Hospital, do you remember the ward?" And I was like, "No." And it was, to this day, I still struggle remembering it. It was something sparrows.
But did you remember, obviously, your family, what you're doing, all these things you remember?
What was quite funny was it's funny now.
Are you married? Have you got wife? No.
Exactly that.
But there are lots of films like that about
it was exactly that. I'd lost the chunk which was travelling.
Oh.
Yeah, so like I remember my brother. He said that he spoke to me and he was like, "You all right?" And I was like, "Oh, what's going on?" He said he said in the whole ward I just kept on saying shit. I'd say to you, "You've had an accident," and I'd be like, "Shit." And he's like, "No, it's really bad." And I'd be like, "Shit." And I kept on saying about my tooth. And then he was like, I was like, "My tooth hurts." He was like, "You got more problems in your tooth." Like, shit. And then he started saying to me, he said, you went on a bike ride. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he was like, "You came off your bike." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And it was the car. He was like, you're cycling somewhere to get your car. And I mentioned my old car before I went traveling because I sold my car when I went traveling. And he was like, "No, you've got a new car. You've got a Ford Fiesta." He was like, "You keep talking about because he had pleather seats. He was like, "You keep talking about your seats." And I was like, "No, I don't have that car." And then he was like, he said, "Do you know who we are?" He said, That's Kaya." And I was like, "Yeah, I know Kaya." And he was like, "Your fiancée?" And I was like, "She's not my fiancée." And he was like, "What?" He said, "I told you. I said, I'm going to propose when I go travelling." And he was like, "Have you been travelling?"
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "What?" And then I got, just get really confused.
Gosh.
Yeah, but that was in the hospital. So yeah, I'd done this whole life experience of going travelling for 6 months and
you've
gone. Yeah, and I've
how
just gone back. I don't even know what medically that means, but you hear about it a lot. But I've just lost this big chunk, and I was back there. But then luckily it slowly came back, and yeah, the doctor would come round and he'd say, "What?" And I ended up lying to the doctor actually because I knew there was a problem that I was forgetting this ward. Cheerful sparrows. That's what it was. Cheerful sparrows. And I kept on trying to make like word association in my head. So like one time he came round and
with the
because
pirates.
he said sparrows, I thought pirates, and I thought Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
So then he'd say, "What ward you on?" I remember saying to him, "I don't know, but it's something to do with Pirates of the Caribbean." He was like, "This is better." He's like, "This is better." Still wrong. He said it's cheerful sparrows. And I remember getting my phone out and I typed it in. Cheerful sparrows. And then the next time I saw him, I quickly looked at it. Like, cheerful sparrows. What ward are you on? Cheerful sparrows. And it's like, there we go. Like, we can start discharge you. And I was like, I don't know if I should be discharged at this point. I just coaxed the system. So then you let me go. And yeah, it was bad. It changed me like for a little bit. Like I didn't want to be around. Like you see me networking and stuff like that. But for a while, I didn't want to be around anyone. Like I'd get like anxious, and I'd feel like I'd feel so out of touch with. And it was a weird thing because it was like I could remember who I was, and like I used to love like being down the pub, having a laugh, and being around big groups.
Did you remember all that work that you like to do and all these things?
So I remembered that, and then but it was just like I think it happened. I've spoken to people that have had like head injuries and stuff like that. And that was it. It was like really itchy shortly after. And I went back to the doctor. I went back to A&E, and I was like, I don't know if there's a problem here. So then I spoke to this guy. To this day, I don't know his name, but I spoke to this doctor, and he was like, I'm a head specialist basically. And he was like, he said, "Well, what's happening there?" He said, "It's your nerves." He said, "Like your nerves like a mesh around your head, and you've split it." And they're just firing up, like trying to get back to each other. So he said, "So some of it's numb, it'll feel weird and stuff like that." And I was like, okay. And I was like on the verge of tears, like for like weeks after. I was just on the verge of tears, like whatever I'd done.
Because I guess you probably want to rub it all the time.
Yeah. And he said to me, he was like, "Have you spoken to anyone?" And I was like, "About what?" And he said, "Are you feeling all right?" And I was like, "No." I was like, I feel like a different person. I was like, it's really like affected me. And he sat me down and he had this chat with me, and he had come off, like he'd been hit by a car. And he basically said he was like, it's very normal to not feel like you're the same person you were. And he said, like, that happened to me 20 years ago. He said, I still feel, from time to time, I feel like I'm a different person. And he basically explained that it's normal. So that really, really helped. Like, I probably should have had like some counselling or something like that after, but just speaking to that one guy.
That's transformational. I mean, that was amazing that he happens to have had an experience.
Yeah, exactly the same. And he was like, he showed me his scar, and I was like, oh, man, you're part of the tribe. But yeah, that really helped, because up to that point, I didn't know. Like I'd go for walks, and if a dog barked, I'd be like on edge and stuff like that. And, like it's already crowds, but I could always remember. It was like Jekyll and Hyde. It was like I knew how I felt, and I didn't like it, but I could remember I liked my old version of myself. So I'd kind of push myself to be in the pub with people and be around people, and I just convinced myself that if I tried to do these things that I used to like, I will like them again, and it did work.
And the memory step by step came back?
Yeah, no, it all came back. Once it came back, it all came back. So like even the travelling, that blip, that only lasted like a day of not remembering that whole chunk. Like I think maybe a day, 2 days maybe. But that all came back. And like I was apologising to my wife. I was like, "Oh yeah, I know you are my fiancée. I wasn't trying. I don't regret it. Like you are still my fiancée. Yeah, definitely."
Well, it's quite interesting. I think the brain is that area that people are saying is unbelievable. How many things can happen, and how even up to today, I don't know how we are managed to get so much information and to use, and anything that we're doing is there. And they're saying that we don't use even on a big capacity, isn't it? They're saying that we're using very small, which is crazy. But wow, did that change your work path then?
Then that really had the knock on to then start my own thing. So then I went back to work after that, and yeah, we used to always have these chats in the office, like, if you won the lottery, what would you do? Like, if you didn't have to work, what would you do? And my answer would always be the same: that I'd travel more. I didn't have a house at the time. I'd get a house, and I'd start my own agency. I used to always say that. I didn't know what the agency would be, but I would start something where I could make things and be proud of what, and be in control of what my work is. So then I remember the day, like, after I came back, because I think I only had like 2 weeks off work with that.
Wow.
And then I was back with, like, because I think I still had stitches coming out of my head when I was back at work. And I remember being back in the same place, and, like, again, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I really enjoyed the people, I enjoyed everything, but I was back at the same place. I'd finished uni, I'd got a job. Since then, I'd done 6 months traveling. I'd had this, like, life-risking thing where, like, if the next thing to come down that road was a car and not a bike, then I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because it was like a real country road turn, like tight turns and stuff like that. And now I'm still back at the job, and people are asking me what I'd do. People were asking me what I'd do if I had all the money in the world, and it was something that I could actually do. And the whole time, so the whole journey, I'd always, like, help people out on the side with, like, logo design and website. So like in uni, I was helping out this property developer, and I built his website, and his branding and stuff like that. So I was always doing it. And then after all this, it started ramping up a little bit, where people were asking for more of me on the side. So I was very late nights. So I'd finish work, go home, get on my computer, and start helping people out more, and weekends and stuff like that. And I just had this shift in perspective, and obviously, if the work wasn't there, maybe I wouldn't have done it, but the work was there, so I sat there and I was like...
Did you earn a little bit out of doing those?
Yeah, but just don't tell the tax man. Yeah. It was all cash in hand kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I was getting paid.
I mean, like, just because that's the thing, isn't it? You start to realise that you can actually do something there.
And there's value there. Like, there was money coming in. It was, like, granted, it wasn't a lot, but I was getting paid for these things I was doing. And then he kind of said, this property developer. So all these things were kind of happening at once. My shift in perspective. I was thinking maybe I can have an agency, but I was only really helping out one guy at this point. Sorry. And I said to him, I was like, look, are you going to keep giving me these little tasks? I was doing, like, posters for his site and doing CGI visuals as well and stuff like that. I was like, are you going to keep needing this? And he said, we're going to the moon. We're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. He was like, we're going to keep needing you. He said I was going to offer you a job to do our marketing. And I kind of told him that my fault was not that, but if I leave my job, I'll have more time to allow to his stuff. And if he can give me more, then I will happily take it, and I'll start up on my own. And he was like, yeah, do it, you got to do it. And I was like, right, I'm going to take this plunge. And I remember sitting down and working out, in an ideal world, how much he would pay me and how much I was getting paid at work. And I was getting paid more at work, but what he was paying me would be enough to survive, basically. And I was like, that's okay. I thought, I'm going to take the risk. And I turned around to my work and said, right, I'm gonna leave. Like, nothing against the job, but this is what I'm gonna do. Like, I've been doing your social media, you've been doing your website. Like, you can tell that's what I want to be doing. I'm going to leave. And then the boss said to me, he was like, you could not just leave in one big chunk. Like, you don't have to do it like that. You could do part-time here and part-time that. And I was being a bit stubborn. I was like, no, don't want it. No, thank you, but no, thank you. I'm going to go off. I'm going to do my own thing, and that's going to be my full-time work. So then I handed my notice in, my month's notice at the start of the year, again, because I had to wait until the end of the year to get my bonus.
That's very important.
So then I handed my notice in, I think like first day back in the year. And then I had to serve like a month's notice. So then 2 weeks into that, the guy that was giving me the work said, "Oh, can you come speak to us after work?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, mate." So then I finished work, go see him, get to him for like 5:30, with the intention to do his work in the evening. And he was like, "Yeah, slight balls up here, we're going under."
Oh,
And like he had sites going, he had a shop, he had loads going on, and I was like, "What do you mean we're going under?" And he's like, "Well, we're going to close this down, but we'll move on to the next thing. When we move on to the next thing, we'll need you, but this whole thing here, we're closing that down." I was like, "What about this work you was going to give me?" And he said, "Well, we're not going to be able to give it to you now." He said, "Like, you might want to stay at Harmony for a little bit longer until we set up this next thing."
no, I
like,
can't stay.
But then again, I was being a bit stubborn, and I thought, no, with all what's happened, everything, like, I'm doing this. So then I just had to start from the ground up. Like, it would have been a very privileged place to start a business, to have like your first client definitely guaranteed. So I thought I was going to have that, but I didn't.
Did you realize at that point that obviously that journey of entrepreneurial is like, it's not going to be the easy way?
No, and you can't really rely on anyone.
You can't. Yeah, you can't.
You can't rely on anyone's word too much. So then I started still, and I started with no clients basically, and then my old job, I remember they said, like, "Well, we still want you to do our social media and do our website." So I was like, "Okay, I'll do that," but it was quite small. And then I remember they did say, there was like, "You can still work for us." And I was like, "But I'm setting this up." And they said, "Well, you can do it as like a consultant almost." So they gave me a little bit of work, but it was obvious they wanted someone in the office and stuff like that, which is absolutely fair. So it was a little bit, but then apart from that, I was just trying to hit the ground running, like phoning up people I knew that had businesses.
Did you had any idea how to create and to start a business, or did you had any people to help you?
Yeah, a little bit. I remember I'd spoken to my brother at the start, and I was like, "Do you know anything about this?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's easy." So then, like, he showed me, like, I didn't even know, like, the Gov website or Company's House. I didn't know any of that. And he kind of, like, I remember sitting down at his dinner table, and like, he just kind of went through it all and like talked me through.
Does he had business at that moment?
I don't know if he did. I don't know he didn't.
Okay, he just maybe knew.
He just had some knowledge.
Like 6 months after that, he did start up his business. I don't know if I knew that he was starting up his own business, and I knew that, but he was just much more in that business world. And he was more senior in his role, so he knew a lot more about that. And then he did start up his business after, and it's a very, very successful business. But at that point, I don't think he did. But he did, like, he took me through it, and I set up on Company's House, and then. But obviously, that was when I handed my notice in. I'd done that, and then like a month later, I was in my spare room with my computer setting up a website for myself. And
so that were the first steps. You set up and you start to try to find clients.
Yeah, so I set up my website, set up my social medias. Like, there was this stuff that I'd done on the side over the years, so that became like my portfolio. So I used that to advertise what I could do.
For me, sounds, when I'm listening your story from university, let's say you left, and when you were trying to find work, I was thinking that all the time there was something there, but not as exactly as you want.
No.
And I was waiting till the moment to see where that ends. this morning I was looking on your website, and it looks very much different than usual agencies. I think exactly because the work that you offer. And this led me that you had that great opportunity when you had your agency to do it as you wanted, as you plan it your way.
Yeah, so I'd never, like, there's obviously a negative, there's a massive negative to this, and the massive negative is probably stress and worry, but like, I'd never worked in an agent, like, I'd never worked doing what the company was. I'd only ever done it for myself on the side. I knew it was good because people were paying me. They wouldn't pay me if it wasn't good.
Yeah.
So I had that kind of validation, but I'd never worked in an agent. I didn't know the internal structures of an agency. Everything we've done, we've had to set up ourselves, and everyone I've hired, no one's ever worked for anyone else in graphic design roles, web design roles, social media marketing. Like no one, like everyone that's worked for me has worked from the ground up. So we're kind of, everything we do takes more legwork because we've got to try and find out how to do it. But then it's more tailored to us. Like even we have like timesheets. So we have timesheets on like which we've created on Google Sheets. But that's to track everyone's hours and what people are spending time on. So then when a project finishes, we know how long it took. And like I didn't like that was just because I thought that was something that we need. So we've implemented that. But now what's quite good is where we're getting a bit bigger and we're meeting other agencies and stuff like that. Like one of my staff has a friend that's gone to work with a big agency in London. And I was like, it'd be interesting to know. Like, it'd be interesting to have a chat with him. And he said, I've already had the chat with him. He said, I said to him, like, how does it work? And he said, pretty much everything he's saying, we're doing. And I was like, well, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it's good.
But it's a long way to try and work it all out. But yeah, you're right. Like the website does look totally different.
No, I think it's because of what, actually I love what is, I'll leave the people to go and check that because I really like the layout and how it makes you to think. It's very creative, that point. But as well, it's about that you've got, because of your knowledge, you can offer not just the usual social media and all these websites things. You can do that these things, which is really cool to have it in one agency. This is what I found.
It is me, like it's just what I've learned. And when we started, I was working with developers more, and I thought like that would kind of be the route but I never really wanted to be a specialist to one industry.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really want to be niche. Like when you start out, because then we started working with recruitment agents and people were saying, oh, you should advertise yourself as a recruitment agent marketing agency. And I was like, I don't want, the reason I loved university was the different projects, the different perspectives, the different things.
But then you are very creative, obviously, and you want to have this opportunity to jump on different projects and different.
We learn from it. Like we learn from so many
and one of the
different
great
industries.
things about it is the diversity gives you, because there's always times in the world when something's going on, and if you're working in one particular sector, that particular sector can go really quiet.
Yeah.
And then you're literally tied into that. Whereas if you've got a balanced portfolio, the most amazing thing about that is it's always, even in a recession, there's somebody else doing really well, and your opportunity is to work with that particular,
definitely
at that particular moment.
I found that during lockdown. So during lockdown, I didn't have any staff. I didn't have an office. I was still working for myself from home. So everyone was getting these all this free time off and getting paid for staying at home. And I had to work living hard for them 2 years, but not. I wish I could say it was pure strategy and I knew what I was doing. But luckily, I was working with an education recruitment company and a construction company and a pharmaceutical recruitment company, life science recruitment company. They were like my three big clients at the time of COVID, and they were three industries that the government done everything they could to keep afloat, and keep moving. And obviously education, there was lots of people, education recruitment, there was lots of staff and that who were getting COVID or getting sick or whatever, or just scared to come or whatever. And they weren't going into school. So then them schools needed supply teachers and stuff like that. So they thrived. construction just didn't stop. Like, they'd done everything they could to just not stop construction. So construction was keeping up. And then there was this life science recruitment company that was putting people in jobs in Pfizer's and stuff like that. So they thrived. So luckily, So I was actually really busy at that point. And then at the end of COVID, it meant that I could shift to get an office and take on my first hire and stuff like that. Luckily, I mean, it's
how long after you start the business this happened?
What, that I got the office?
Yes,
so
and
that was
3
years.
3 years.
Yeah, so year 1 was pretty standard, just working from home. And I remember at the time I was working from home, and it was like a novel idea. Like people were like, oh, what, you're working and you're just at home? And I was like, yes. And I was like, oh, so you can do what you want. I was like, no, I still need to earn money to survive.
Especially for you,
yeah. And I remember some people were like, oh, Tibbs is basically retired. I got that from some people. You basically retired. You just sit at home, you go on your computer, you do a little bit, and you get a bit of money. You get a bit of money and you pay. And I'm like, no, it's really, really difficult. And then COVID happened, and everyone was working from home. And then, a year, and then 2 years of COVID, and then towards the end of, or like lockdowns and stuff like that. And then towards the end of that, everyone was getting used to working from home. And I was like, I've had enough of working from home.
I want
get me out of this house. So I got a little office with just me, first of all. And then I took on my first members. Well, I took on 2, actually. I took on the Kickstart campaign. So this was a campaign where it was people that couldn't find work. After COVID, there was loads of people that just couldn't find work. And it was through no fault of their own. Like, their education was just stunted for 2 years. Yeah. Their social skills were stunted for 2 years in like the most influential years of their life.
It's so critical at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, like when I think back at like the hires I took on at that time, at that age was those years of lockdown were the years where I was going out more and I had a bit more freedom and I was going to town with my friends and I was getting drunk down the beach and things like that.
And they didn't
have that. So I think there was like loads of people looking for work, and the government said that if you take on a staff member for, I think it was 20 hours a week, they would actually pay them. So they covered they covered minimum wage basically for them. So I took 2 on for 6 months. And at the end of that, it didn't really work out with one of them, but the other one still works for me today. So Liam's like 4.5 years he's worked for me now.
Wow.
So that's really good.
And how many people you've got in the team nowadays?
So we've got myself, we've got a digital designer, we've got a web designer, we've got my wife that does the accounts because, as I said, we're all she's very good at that. So she runs the accounts, stuff like that. We've got a T-level student who does a day a week with us, and we're just about to take on another T-level student a day a week with us.
So you're still quite involved on day-to-day to do the creative part and to be part of the project. It's not only to be the...
No, I'm not just the face of the
yes. No, you still enjoy and you like it. By the sounds of it, on all the conversation up until now, you show pure that love the job.
I love it. So, like, even when it sounds really bad, and if you didn't like your job, it would be really bad. But I do love my job. So I can remember when my wife was in labour, she was in the hospital we was in the hospital for like 4 days. It was quite a big stint, and I sat there on my laptop and I was creating social media posts for a company. And they were emailing me, being like, Tibbs, you don't have to be doing this. I'm like, no, one, it's not stressful at all. I'm creating lovely pieces of art. I enjoy it. And realistically, it does have to be done. And I'm sitting there. So like moments like that. I love getting on the tools, basically. And doing the work just as much as managing it.
Do you remember your first client? How did you get your first client?
Well, my first client was technically my dad. So I'd done his logo. My dad was a builder. So my dad was a builder and he had MJB property maintenance. And that was when I was in school. He was like, I need something to go on the side of my vans. And I made it in paint, MJB property maintenance. And then he got it printed on Vistaprint. And like a magnet tile and stuck on his, and I think for that maybe he gave me a £5 or something. I used to growing up. I used to work with I used to be like a labourer quite a bit growing up. I'm really diverse. The things I've like the jobs I've had have been really diverse. Like when I was like 15, my dad would take me to the building site and you'd be like cleaning up and scraping wallpaper and stuff like that. And then I done more labouring, but then I did have office jobs growing up. And yeah, it was a real mix. And in the uni, Domino's pizza delivery driver, working in Tesco's part time.
So you never stopped. There was always, obviously, we can't cover every single job, but it looks like you always been driven by to do something for you and to get your.
We kind of were taught when we were younger that because my dad being a builder, like that's quite a tough trade. You've got to do something to get paid. He was self-employed as well, so he's kind of taught very young that like you need to work, like you need to do the hard work. I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and I was like, the only detriment to that now is I think things have to be hard because like if there's an easy route, I tend to think that's not the best route. And like
you need to have a challenge. You need to have
to earn your money.
Yeah.
So yeah, we was always taught that. Like I'd have a knock on the door in the morning, like the night before. During some holidays and that, my dad would say, "Do you want to earn some money tomorrow?" And then I'll be like, "Yeah, of course." And he'd be like, "Right, tomorrow I'll take you up to London to that's I remember at the time it was Soho. He was doing a rip out, so I take you up to London. You can earn a few quid." I was like, "All right, cool." And then it'd be like 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. There'd just be a knock on the door, so I'd be like fast asleep. Knock, 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 and I'd be like, "Ugh." And I was like, "That's Dad," and that's all I'd get. You just get a knock on the door, and then I'd get out of bed, brush my teeth, go downstairs. By this point, he would have been walking out the door and getting in his van, and my mum would be like, "You got to get in that van, Tibbs. If you like, he will go." And then he's like, my mum would be like, "Have you sorted your lunch out?" My dad wouldn't have sorted my lunch out. "Have you sorted your lunch out?" I'm like, no. She'd be quickly getting a couple of pieces of bread and just slapping some ham in it, and then you would hear him start the engine to the van, and then you had about 30 seconds to get that door open and jump in. Otherwise, it's gone. And then he would just go because he'd say and then he'd come back at the end of it, and he'd say, "So you didn't want to work this morning?" And I'm like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah, but look, that's a quite cool night. Come on, darling, could you please get up? Let's do it will take. He's got a schedule, and if you want to jump and learn to,
he had guys he'd pick
of
up.
Course.
And just a knock on the door. We joke about because my brothers, we all done it. We all because my dad at the time we all worked with him in some kind of capacity. And just because we needed money and he had work there, but we all joke about it to this day. So he used to be quite, but now he's so much more chilled out and stuff like that. But at that time, he was running jobs in London. He had, like you say, he had schedules to keep. He'd turn around to us, he'd have that. You
can't be like, "Oh, because my son decided today to 15 minutes more to sleep." You can't do that.
So we're picking you up half hour late. But it did teach us all that you've got to earn your own way. And even in university, loads of people in university were just loads of people that I was in university with were getting money from their parents and not working. It was a bit odd that I was the oddity because I was working in Domino's and Tesco's. They were like, "Oh, we're focusing on our degree." "No, you're not. You're going out and getting drunk, and
obviously
you're failing your degree."
Obviously, you show that you can do and the degree and work and everything. And what was the biggest setback in when you start the business and up until now in the
setback? So there was that client at the start that went under. So that was a setback. And then we kind of got a bit bigger, and this was when we had a team. So there was 3 of us. So then I was paying salaries and stuff like that. It was the first time doing all that. And we kind of let this guy who ran a few businesses, we kind of let them build up too much debt. So they would pay us from one and then not the other, and we was keeping us fed, but they weren't really paying what they were supposed to, and that kind of mounted up and up and up to the point where I was like, and it was the first time someone hadn't really paid us. So because up to that point it was only really friends and family we'd worked with, and like people I knew,
Mm.
and people that knew me, and like and everyone paid well. So then, yeah, it was the first time, and it was quite a big chunk, like tens of thousands of pounds that they owed at that point. And I was like, yeah, salaries, offices, expenditures. So that was a setback, because I probably spent a year of my life fighting that, because and I was being stubborn. I was like, I'm getting this money, like no matter what it takes, I'm getting this money out of these people. So then it was when ChatGPT was just coming up, like it was probably about 3 years ago. And I was using that to study like design law. So like, because these people were using the logo we'd designed, the website we'd designed, and everything like that. They were still using it. Like the company was still running. Like it was still earning money. They just decided they weren't going to pay us. Because also, what also happened a little bit, muddies the water a little bit, is they had recently been bought out by someone else. And these people that had bought them out were like, to us, literally, send us the agreement they signed and we'll pay you. And I was like, there was no agreement. But they had paid bills previously, so that was good for us. But yeah, they was using everything. So it took a year of like following a process of like reminder. Like I learned all that kind of thing, that you need to remind clients. But if there's not a track record of reminding them that they owe you money, then you don't really have a legal stance. So I went through all that, and like I went through the whole process, and then I ended up issuing them cease and desist notices, because they hadn't paid us for the logo and they were using the logo. Technically, it was our logo. Yeah, so then there's copyright laws. So then they're breaching copyright laws because they're using our logo, because they haven't paid for our logo. But so it's ours. So it went through all that, and it went through a year, probably a year there of that was like a major thing on my mind. Every day I got into work at the office, I would try and progress, and it just set us back like a year basically there, because, and I did get it in the end. Issued the cease and desist notices, and then this sounds really pathetic, but in the end, I took this stance that I said I've done everything legally correct. I couldn't really afford to take them to court, because they're a big London company, and they would just like I'd end up spending so much, I'd end up losing my house stuff like that. So I was backed into a corner. I said, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. I said, the one thing I can do, and this is going to be legally correct, I'm not going to mention business, I'm not going to mention our business relations, I'm not going to mention all these things, but whenever you post on social media starting next year, whatever you post, I'm going to put this statement underneath it. And the statement was, I personally, not a business, I personally do not trust this business. And it was bad, because we run social media, so I don't want to be seen doing that.
Yeah.
But it was the final straw. And as soon as I started doing that, finally, they start phoning me. They start picking up the phone to me. They start responding to me, and then they clear it within the week. They cleared all payments.
Good.
So
Good.
I was like, I'm really sad that it had to come to that, but I was backed into a corner, and I spent a year doing the legal thing, and I sent them this long email when it was all done, saying now this isn't going to end up in court. I can actually speak my mind, and it was like this long email just basically saying you're just abusing the little guys. You don't understand how much this affects us. I've got mortgages to pay. This, and I just outlined it all. Just a big middle finger at the end of it all.
But that's the only one that you had like that, yeah?
Yeah, like everyone else is paid lovely. So yeah, setbacks. It did set us back though, because it was like a year, and like I said, I had staff, and I was trying to balance like keeping them on and keeping progressing, and it did set us back. But now we're back basically, and we've got more varied clients, so we've learned from it. Like everything you learn from, there's always some kind of positive to take from it. And we've got agreements now. So if someone comes to us with a big project, we've got an agreement. It's an ongoing thing. We've got something they sign, so we don't end up in that situation again. And we've got more varied clients. We're not relying on this one contact. Although he had like 5 businesses, it was this one guy, and they all got sold together. So we're not relying so heavily on one chunk, a bit like what you're saying about the industry, relying on different. So we're safer basically, and we're developing. We've built a stronger foundation, hopefully.
I think I know the answer of these questions, but if TPD Creative didn't exist, do you think you would love to work for someone, or you had that passion to work for yourself and to be the one who creates and is in control in what is done?
I tell what. I know. Well, no. You said you're probably thinking I'm going to say I always got to work for myself, but I don't think that's true. I think I could work for someone else, but even in uni when I'd done that year in placement, that ended a bit sourly because one, I just didn't like. I think I clashed with my manager. But throughout that whole process, I remember saying, like, people would be like, "Oh, well, after uni, what are you going to do?" And my biggest thing was I just don't want to be a cog. Like, I don't want to just be a process guy. I don't want to be just fulfilling the process and nothing gets created. Like, I think I would be. I think if TPD didn't create, TPD ruining my own one now. Taking after you, it's rubbing off.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But it's interesting because I think now you know the whole structure and how to run the business.
Yeah.
The only thing is when you then work for somebody else and you see that they're not working to a structure, then you'd probably think, you'd go in and go, well, oh, we're not doing this, you're not doing that one. No, but that's the way we do it. You go, and then you'd probably find it slightly infuriating. And our business, I think you probably don't think that at the moment, but it's
probably. But our business is a little bit different because we do work with our clients, as in we don't have a product that we just sell. When we do work with people, we do almost become part of their team. We become like an out-of-office marketing department, and we fill holes that they can't fill. So we end up working with businesses. I am part of 15, 20 businesses right now to some degree. Yeah. And you're right, like I do see some of the things they're doing. I'm like, why are you doing that? But I just bite my lip and do what I'm paid to do. Basically.
Exactly.
Do you follow your structure to do it though?
Yes. Yeah. No, I do get that. So yeah. Maybe I should just shut down and get a job and see. Test it out.
No. What you're doing sounds, and where this creativity comes from, sounds like you always been like that. But have you got any? Obviously, you mentioned walks when you go on a walk or when you're somewhere on a bit of.
I think it's always been part of me. I think most people in the creative sector, especially if they're good, it's always been part of them. Like we started working with a freelancer recently, and he was saying that he only got into graphic design technically like a couple of years ago. But then he says that like when he was younger, he says about all these things he'd done and like these arty things. And I was like, it was always there. There was always this like this path. It's just you end up working in insurance and not following it. I think it's always been there. Like as a kid, like I love Lego and stuff like that. I love building things. I like.
And is it like on the movies? Honestly, there was one movie, I'm not going to say the name, but is it like you are the agency and the people come or you go there, they show you the product or whatever they want to do, campaign, I assume, or however, and you just sit down and you've got this brainstorming and come up with some ideas. So when you see the product, you already got that idea what could be.
Yeah, sometimes it's harder. It doesn't always just come to it. But
I assume that's the part of the agency, isn't it? Someone come, they want specific.
So people come to us with totally different, all different avenues. Literally every single client has like a tailored approach. Some will come to us and just say, "I want a website," and then you go through like a whole briefing session and find out what they want, what they actually want, because sometimes what they say they want, they don't actually want, and then you develop this thing. But then others need that ongoing support. Some people will even have like a marketing team or person in their company, but they won't be good with graphic design, or they won't. So then we just fill that hole, basically. So people, literally everyone comes to us, and then some people, a lot of people just want ideas, and that's great because.
You mentioned a little bit about AI earlier. Now, obviously, AI these days is having a market effect in so many ways.
Yeah.
But I guess the one thing AI can do is maybe give someone a few ideas and then come to you and go, well, we quite like this, quite like this, but actually it's not what we want. And it then probably puts people coming to you in a different way.
We've got one of them literally right now. Someone used AI to create a logo. They're really happy with the logo. but it's not vectorized. It's not usable basically. So they said to us, can we develop it and build a whole brand around this idea? Like they're taking that idea from AI, but we're developing it, and it's AI's it's conversation in all industries. Like ours is really easy to target and point at and be like.
I think it is, but again, it's the time. It's not only that the idea the AI generator will create something, but I don't know, my personal experience as well is it helps a lot.
Yeah.
It can save you lots of hours and money if you're very small or someone that you think you can't afford at this stage. But in the meantime, you still need to do quite a lot of work on your own.
And at the end of the day,
so there is a balance. It's not like it's going to come and do everything automatically.
But it can also be a bit sameish as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. It is just reviewing what's out there and using that as a basis of going forward. So, like when I was owed that money, and I used it because what I needed was the knowledge of legal things, which is very set knowledge. So all I needed was something which could review law and explain it to me in a digestible way for my specific thing. But when it gets into the creative industries, all it's doing, and I'm saying that all it's doing as if it's nothing. It is fantastic, but it's reviewing what's out there and then creating something on that. So it's going to get samey. Whereas, like if we're building a brand, we'll have a full conversation with the client. We'll find out exactly what they want, exactly what the goals are, exactly who they are, what their business is, what their ethos is, what all these things. We'll have this deep dive. And then we will literally, in the office, we will have a blank piece of paper and we will start putting our ideas together with pencil for their logo, for everything, for their website. The websites we do, that's the same process. It's a blank page and we're saying, what does this client need? And we're finding that and creating it. And we're creating ideas, we're creating new stuff. And
I wish I can come and spend a day in your office. Honestly, I want to see this in real. Honestly, just to sit in one corner and just to look on that.
I have this vision of it being a bit like Emma in Paris.
This is what I was thinking. How you sit there? That's Tobias in Kent.
It sounds like it is much more stressful than you imagine.
No, I'm pretty sure it is, but that's why honestly sounds awesome. Yeah, we'll arrange that. I'll come to look how our work is happening there. What means success for you?
Oh shit.
Don't go back to the hospital, please. What's the word name? Do you remember?
What is success? Happiness. Success to me is not. It's not financial. It's not money in the bank. It's spending time with my wife and child. It's being happy in the moment. It's being happy with the work I'm creating. And if some money comes along with that for security, then that's great.
Absolutely.
Because security is happiness as well. But yeah, I'd say happiness for me and my family is success. If I can sit back and know I'm doing everything right by my family, by my wife and my child's going to have every opportunity to do what he wants to do, and I'm happy as well.
That's
the. Do you have any mentors at the moment? Do you have anyone to mentor you? Like, sort of like, do you go to any? Like...
No, but I do. No, I don't. I did think about it at one point. But I heard this is going to sound so poetic and everything. Everyone's my mentor.
But that's good, yeah.
Like I try to find value in everything I do, and like with the networking and stuff like that, you speak to so many different businesses, and then like I try not to let anything be wasted time, basically. So like any conversation, I try to like review it in my head, or even when I'm in the conversation, trying to pick things which could work for me. Maybe things, that guy's doing that. That is terrible. I'm not doing that. So then, but then it does mean I'm literally like it all comes down to me. Like I don't have a business partner. I don't have someone to bounce these ideas off. So when it does fail, it's all my fault.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I'm sure your dad play a role of, it's not going to be mentor, but maybe that inspiration, or to follow the good, the bad.
I've just got so many.
Yeah, and there will be lots of
my friends, my family, my brothers, my dad, my mum, like my grandmother, like everyone. I feel like has been.
Because you can bounce ideas off the people around you as well.
And it's like, and then it's up to you to decide whether their response is right or not. Like I might say, this is my idea. And then someone might just have a very closed-minded view at it and be like, it's terrible. I don't know why you're doing that, waste of time. And then I can go away and be like, who is that guy? What's he thinking? Is he someone I should listen to? If yes, then you know what, maybe it was a terrible idea.
But as a creative, actually, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's like, I think, the criticism, and I'm going to use an example. So Jaguar brought out this new logo.
Yeah.
And of course, all the traditionalists were like, no.
Yeah.
And then they've showed this vehicle after like ages, and everyone's going, oh, really? And the crazy thing is, everyone starts going, okay, but it's very radical. Yeah. And then now you start to see other car manufacturers doing similar things.
Yeah.
And yet they've got so much criticism.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how creative someone is. It's always the start of something else.
Yeah.
But in general, always you're going to have lots of people who will be saying no. Because you said the people who got that a bit more, they don't see the big picture, they don't want to see it.
No. And I think that's like when you say about where does your creativity come from and like where does that stem from? I think anything I do, like it literally goes back to like Lego. Like I've always had an ability to see where I want it to be at the end. Like I do DIY in the house, like painting, decorating. Like
when you say Lego, when you had the Lego, did you always try to do what it says there, or you always try to create as well something different?
I always follow the rules with that one.
Okay, and after that, you didn't come up with the idea to what else I can do?
I think I did as a kid, but like as a real young kid, I used to just put it together. But you can like I said, anything I do, I've always got a vision of what it's going to be. If everything works out, if it just goes according to plan, this is what this is going to end up as. And usually with the Lego, I want it to look like the thing that I've bought.
Okay, yes, okay.
So I can follow that process. Or like if it's say a website, I've got a vague idea of. It might not be what I know it wants to look like visually, but what I want it to achieve. So like I have that ability to see things in the future, basically, to see the end and then build towards it. And that might mean usually means chopping it into 20 tasks to get to that end result. But I can always see what that end result is, and I'm just striving towards it. And so I think that it is creativity, but I think a lot of things it's that patience and that ability to trust the process and know that you're going to get there. And it might take longer than expected, but you're going to get there. As long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're going to get there in the end.
I love that.
No,
I love that.
So have you got sort of like, you must always be looking for new clients and things. So sort of like, TPD Creative.
Well done.
I got it finally. So, what do you think the key things that you can help people out there, sort of, if they're looking for something, what different aspects?
So, many different areas, to be honest. Like I said, every client, it has a different approach. Quite often it's the outside perspective. People get very locked into their industry and what it is. Like, especially when I started, a lot of people would be like, I'm a builder. This builder has a really good website. Make a website to look like this builder. And it's like almost like closed-minded. And even in bigger businesses, people get very closed-minded and they only know their industry, which is fine because they're looking after, they're doing the thing they're supposed to do. Whereas often it's the outside perspective. So we can look at the company from the outside and, like I said, working with different industries and stuff like that, pick different things for things they don't know, like you don't know what you don't know, and propose this kind of plan, this kind of marketing plan, this kind of design, this kind of route, and then we can, because we've got the skills as well, it's not just the idea, it's having the skills to be able to, like I said, put one foot in front of the other and actually deliver it. So it's deliverable. Like, we're not just coming up with these airy-fairy ideas and being like, oh, you should do this, you should. We're actually saying it, and then we're doing it. We're talking the talk and then walking the walk, because we're very confident in our ability. Like, the team is fantastic. We've got some real good, skilled people in that office, and when we have a goal, we will do everything we can to get it done. So yeah, outside perspective, but then also some people genuinely just need the skill. So some people just need someone that can do graphic design. So like, we might get a client that's already got branding, who's already got brand guidelines, has got everything like that. And they know what they need. They need a website, they need a brochure, they need marketing materials on an ongoing basis. They need these things. They constantly need these things, but they haven't got a graphic designer in house. So then, or a digital designer in house. So we then fill that gap, and we take their brand guidelines, and we can easily adapt everything we do to them. So yeah, so it's all different.
And are you open to work with people overseas and
so when we have in the past, it's usually been project based. So we work in 3 different ways. We work in ongoing basis, project, and ad hoc. So ongoing basis is basically an agreement of deliverables from us, what we're doing. We scope out what our responsibilities are, and we deliver them on a monthly basis. And that could be just marketing as an overall, or it could be just social media, or it could just be website management, or usually it's all of it, because we can do everything in that area. We assist with all of that on a monthly ongoing basis. So that's ongoing. We have project. So in project, we're not adverse. Not everyone has to fit that ongoing structure, but project will be we want a website, we want a 3D model, we want CGIs, we want this one thing done, this one deliverable. So usually when we worked overseas, we've done like a couple of models. So we've done a model for a company in Portland, Oregon, because they're a property developer. They found us online. They said, we really want a model of this property we're making. So we actually 3D built it, printed it, put it in a nice box, and then secured the hell out of it for shipping, and sent it to Portland. They're very happy with it. Gave us a great review. We've done another model for someone in New York, an art gallery. Like everyone got different things. Like the model for Portland was to give to the person that started the business that was retiring. So there was a lovely little story about it, but they had always been building these similar structures. So then it was an idea. We could be a bit creative with it, but they wanted this structure in a model to hand him at the end, so you'd see it, and it was lovely. But then the art gallery, which you'd think would be more creative, was the complete opposite. It was an art gallery, and it was literally a problem-solving task, because they had an art gallery, a thin art gallery. People would exhibit in there, and they'd bring these canvases, they'd bring statues, they'd bring all these different things, and they struggled with drawings. I guess being more creative than structural, they struggled with positioning things. So we delivered for them a 3D model of their art gallery with small little to scale canvases and people and furniture and stuff like that. So then when someone comes to them and says, oh, I've got 5 canvases this size, I've got this many, whatever, they've actually got something they can move around in the space.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, so that was abroad, and yeah, we've done some graphic design for people in Portugal. We work with like Fujifilm, which is like a worldwide company, and again that was 3D models. It is usually the 3D models and the CGIs, which are more out of the UK, and less of the marketing. But we definitely work with.
Brilliant.
We'd love it. We'd get another perspective.
Yeah, which is really cool. Yeah, you don't restrict only to Thanet and Kent.
Yeah, exactly. Well, amazing. Thank you.
Time for presents.
Time for presents.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
To work up the pilot. You will love it.
I'm more audible. Audio
you are, but this one is very quick reading.
Do you know what? I didn't actually finish about audio books. I do listen to audio books because they work best with my day-to-day life. and I usually fall asleep when I read books. But the one time I can read a book is when I'm on holiday.
So we wish you a holiday very soon.
I'll take this on the plane, and
maybe you'll finish it by the time you go. Depends how long it's going to be the flight. But it's a brilliant book from Dr. Antwerp. He was our guest. I don't know if you listen. His story is amazing, and the job he's doing. But very amazing guy.
It's like it's talking to you. That's what we like.
It's great, and something small present. Yes, I'm an independent ambassador for this brand, and I love it. It's British, it's nice, it's natural, and it's something for you to treat yourself.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Thank you
and
very
we
much.
want to say a big thank you. Honestly, you bring so. One thing I'll say about you from the moment I met you, this big smile, nobody can forget.
Exactly.
It's brilliant. Keep it as much as you can because this is like your absolutely stamp of...
Your cup is almost nearly full.
No, but this is good. And you honestly, you bring such a vibe today. And I don't think we ever had that start of the episode, but we'll keep it because it was really cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we need to arrange to come and see behind the scene in your business.
It's good. It's a lovely little space. It's really nice space. We're on like a little farmyard which has been converted to offices.
Nice. Where is
in Manston?
Okay, that's near that airport thing.
Yeah, there's an airport.
Oh, okay.
We're literally a couple of minutes from the
airport.
airport.
Okay, sounds good then. Deal.
Nice cafe on the grounds. Pub round the corner.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So we hope everyone's enjoyed today's episode. Tobias, thank you very much for being with us. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please do give us a like. Please do subscribe. And
please, if you like our project, our podcast, support us as buying us a coffee so we can bring more and more amazing guests and learn from them and just become the person we want to be. See you next time.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.